where your mind is not intoxicated or under the influence of anything, it's safe to just dive into role playing with someone that you know for long term. So the book, as we discussed in part 1, it could be used as foreplay in the sense of blindfolding your partner and acting as a teacher and reading the chapter to them and expecting a response. I'm not going to dive into the many ways you can role play, but I want to talk about the emotional component of role playing. When you do role play, you role play with having an imagination. You role play with being creative. And they are the two main things. And so however those two roads take you, let them take you. But there are things that I wanted to discuss under the emotional component that plays a significant role in it. And I need to stress that the reason why you would choose to do it with someone that you're committed to, someone that you're married to, is because of the safe haven that has been provided through the relationship. Y'all have been through some things. Y'all know a lot more things about each other than a stranger walking up to you holding a conversation with you. And so by that being a strong reality, there's a safe haven where you can be vulnerable. You can open up to the person. You can disclose to them how you feel, these thoughts you have, and your wonders. And that person supposed to be accepting. So unconditional love must be in the air. Even if it sounds weird, you don't have to express totally that's weird. It might be shocking more than weird. It might be unusual more than weird. But your initial response, because it's not an everyday action, you might categorize it as weird. And so when you realize that you have to create an atmosphere of unconditional love so that that person can say, this is what I was thinking, or I was wondering about this, or I saw this on TV, or I read this. It has to be an unconditional love to say, even if you're not totally down with what they want to dive into, you shouldn't be looking at them funny. You shouldn't bring up what they into in an argument. You shouldn't exploit them. And that's the key thing I want to talk about. When you're diving into this unfamiliar water and you're looking at the unusual things that can be explored in the sex realm, that does not mean you jump on the phone, you talk to your girlfriend, you call your mans, you call your best friend, and you disclose what your partner, your spouse is into. It is none of their business. It is none of their business. Guess what? So what, you're a news reporter all of a sudden? To a person that you deeply love? You're a news reporter? Is a difference between having a conversation with one of your close friends or your family members and y'all talking about different things under the sex realm and you saying, well, I I explored that. There's a difference between that and then calling up or sitting out the lunch and just loading off information about what they're into. It's none of their business. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. It should be a separation. And when you have that respect level, and I say respect because when you have that respect level, you know, even though you have the not the urgency, but even though you had the temptation to get on the phone or to be at lunch and say, guess what? You have enough respect for your companion to say, that's between me and them. It might have been hard disclosing it to you. They might not even have thought of doing it with someone the way they want to do the things that they presented to you. And so you have to have those key things in mind. Unconditional love, respect. You should be a safe haven. They should be a safe haven. If not, you should question if you should even explore this. Because you can get exploited. And so many people are exploited online, in text messages, pictures, through conversations. And it gets to be very childish, very abusive, and very harmful. Well, harmful and abusive is the same thing. But I want to just stress the importance of keeping in consideration their personal emotions and feelings. Because people could look at that person with a limited love and not unconditional like you. And then it'll be not their fault, it'll be your fault. So you need to have those key components in mind. And lastly, when you have a safe haven and there's unconditional love in the atmosphere, this will be the last reason for you to cheat or dive out of your relationship and find someone else to do something crazy with. And crazy not in the sense of abnormal, but unusual. That's what I need to stress, because I don't want a play on words to make people look or feel funny. I'm trying to stress the fact that under a long-term loving relationship via marriage or committed, there should be a safe haven enough so that person can dive in. It gets crazy when you don't know that person and you disclose and you share things that you wouldn't share usually. And you throw up more chances of being exploited. Being in harm's way. And so I want to just stress the benefits. Get the book. Use it to your advantage. Read it. It's a great novel. 10 short stories. You might not have the creative juice. And just by reading a book, it might stir up creative juice. Or it might reignite passion that went out in your relationship. And you don't have to duplicate everything that's in the book, but let it give you ideas. Let it give you ideas. Ideas that you can handle. Because everything is a stepping stone. Don't mean you dive right back, right into the unusual and just do anything and everything under the sun. Maybe you only can handle a smidge. Be able to do that. But it shouldn't be a backwards world for you and your relationship, whereas though you feel more comfortable doing the unusual with a stranger compared to your significant other. We're talking about emotional wellness. And if that's the case, you need to reassess your feelings, your relationship. And it might not be the partner that you're in a relationship with. It might be all you and your issues. You might be battling with vulnerability. And if they're going to accept you. Because at the end of the day, it's a roll of the dice. Wondering how much unconditionally does a person love you. And with that in mind, you might be hesitant. But just because you're hesitant, that don't mean you're supposed to totally cut off the option. Let's have emotional health even in our physical connections. Let's have emotional wellness even in our intimacy. Because intimacy goes so much further than physical touch. Intimacy starts with conversations. Intimacy starts with diving into the mind. Intimacy starts with diving into your companion's emotions. And when you know that, you see intimacy as a much greater value in your relationship. And you appreciate it a lot more. Because even when you're not physical with your companion, the conversation that you might have between each other as you express unknown thoughts, as you unravel things that they might not have ever felt comfortable sharing with other people, you become more intimately connected with that person. I hope you enjoyed this 2-part series on the secret life of Tooshy. I will post up information regarding the book. If you are not linked to my Instagram, it's life_coaching_INK. I will attach her page, the author Bella, to my advertisement for the book so you can follow the links to purchase the book. Inbox me, text me, call me. I'm only a moment away to touch. And when you look at that, no insight, no question is bad. And I always love when I hear the responses of you enjoying the podcast, you enjoying this episode. So don't think for a long shot I don't read everything that I receive. I don't listen to everything that I receive. I listen to it all. Have a good weekend. Tune in next week as we dive into an episode on getting back to school for your kids and the emotional wellness for the parents, the teachers, and the counselors. I'm excited. Till then, close this episode of ER, emotional